Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps our channel. And let me know what you thought of today's video. All right, Beverly Hills, let's get into it. So we open with all of the ladies packing, getting ready to go to La Quinta, Kyle's house in La Quinta. I hope I'm saying that right. Lisa's dog is going through some things. It's in a cone and the paws are all patched up. I'm like, what happened to that poor dog? But then we move over to Dorit's place. Her kids are frying her because she's packing so many clothes for 2 days for a weekend. And I don't blame them because it's like, I could never imagine myself packing that much. However, they are on a reality TV show and you want to look your best. It's not like you're just going to hang out with your girlfriends. If it was just me going to hang out with my friends, there's no way I care to be all glammed up, you know what I mean, and need all these different options for camera. I'm just going to hang out with my friends. But if I'm on a reality show, I probably would pack a little more. Probably a lot more. Just so you can be prepared. Kyle calls Sutton. She hasn't packed yet. Erica, Garcelle, and Crystal are going to be staying at a hotel. They're probably scared of catching the C-19 from Kathy and Kyle and Dorit's. But I would probably do the same thing because I'm not trying to catch your cooties either. Erica is leaving her clubhouse. It was like a studio space where they did photo shoots and all that fun stuff. She can't afford it anymore, so she's leaving it. She was leasing and now she's giving it up. She's just reminiscing about all the good times she had there. She also says that she hasn't received a dime from Tom since she left. And I know that it's hard for us to we're looking at Beverly Hills during this time, but Erica is talking about what's happening in her confessionals during that time. So she doesn't know that we know about all of this stuff yet. So she's still talking about her divorce with Tom and that bad stuff. But we're like, no, Tom did all this horrible stuff. Why aren't you talking about that? So I feel like that's why it's clashing, which is another reason why it kind of sucks that so much media stuff gets out before you can actually watch the show, because it just feels off when we're watching it, in now as opposed to back then when it happened. So it's just, it's hard to feel sympathy for her about the divorce when all you can think about is the victims. So we get to Kyle's house. It's amazing. It's always been amazing. But I feel like we haven't been to her house in La Quinta since she had that fight with Kim, her sister, about Kyle stealing Kim's house. I will never forget that. Lisa gets there. They start dancing. I feel like it's so fun when you meet up with your friend and you're just woo, and you have your own thing and you're just having a good time without there ever being a reason to. You just start dancing and cheering, and I was like, what are they doing? But it looked fun. Then Dorit gets there. I feel like we're seeing more of Dorit. She's been missing for a few episodes. She was completely almost non-existent in the last episode. So she's back. So I feel like we're probably going to start seeing more of her. Who else? Kathy gets there with this big ass candle. She's complaining about the long ass drive because she's not used to driving. She's a very wealthy woman and she's older. So she's like, my knees hurt from driving. I need somebody to get my bags. They don't have anyone. Kyle doesn't have help there to carry the bags. But Dorit has a driver who she has help bring in her groceries, the groceries she picked up for the house. And I'm just like, pay him a little extra and have him help with the bags. I'm sure he could use the cash and just have this big strong man bring in the rest of the bags. But they're like, no. She doesn't think of that. Crystal and Sutton get there. Sutton pulls up in her Bentley. She has somebody driving and they pull up in her Bentley and she gets out. But I feel like that's her boyfriend, right? Is that the same boyfriend we saw last season? It's so weird. I'm so confused because who is this man? It's not like a driver. I feel like if it was a driver, she would be in the back seat, not up in the front, chilling with her driver. And it doesn't say driver for him. That's the guy she was dating last season, right? If not, it's very weird how they have made no mention of him. Did they have a horrible breakup or something? She is only talking about her ex-husband and not talking about the very boyfriend she had last season. I don't understand this Sutton situation. It's so weird to me. So far Kyle has brought up the fact that Crystal's staying in a hotel. So she didn't really want to have Crystal and Sutton staying at the same place. So she brought it up to Dorit and Lisa. And now in Crystal's confessional, because her and Sutton are interacting for the first time since the meltdown. And Crystal in her confessional says, like, last time I saw Sutton, she had her biggest meltdown, but we've been good since. We've texted, said hello, and I think we're good now. And but she said, I am very happy that I'm staying in a hotel with a locked door. And I don't blame her, girl. I mean, if they can joke about it, so can Crystal. So I'm happy she's at a safe distance and she won't have Sutton lurking down the halls ready to open her door unannounced. So they're unpacking all of the groceries, and Dorit lets us know about Tom's assets being frozen. $2 million in question, like where is it, or is handled wrong. And so they're starting to uncover the case. I feel like I said before, it's been frustrating for the viewers and the fans because they're starting to like slowly unpack it when we know most of the information already. So we're like watching them react, and I feel like it feels very fake, like I didn't know, but like it really is happening months ago. So they were finding out the same way we were finding out. And I would have, like, when I found out, I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? I don't know what to believe. And you just start to figure out all this information. I feel like it's the same for them, for most of them. I feel like, the Mean Girl crew, like Kyle, Dorit, and Rinna know more than the rest of the ladies. So, like, Crystal's just like, I mean, it's $2 million. Like, Tom's super wealthy. Why didn't he just write the check? It doesn't make any sense. So, she's trying to figure out, like, what is going on. And Kathy's like, well, you can't believe everything you read. And they're just, like, trying to figure all this out. And then they start to hear about, like, Tom's lawyer saying, like, they're early on stages of dementia. He doesn't know what's going on. And it's building up this Erica story, like the story that Erica was building in the last episode. It's just all kind of like coming together for them. It's just so bizarre. So they call Erica and tell her, like, get your ass over here. She's going to come. Oh, I forgot to mention that Garcelle's coming the next day. So it's just going to be like all the rest of the ladies and not Garcelle. And right now it's just a hot ass mess. I need a friend like Crystal. She's always like down to make a cocktail for someone. I'm like, please make me a margarita. Probably don't watch it back, but like Dorit's coming back into the kitchen picking her wedgie, and I'm like, Dorit, pick it before you come into the room. So Kyle's making lasagna. Kathy is frying her. She doesn't want onions in her lasagna. And Kyle's confessional, like, stunning. She does have a little bit too much tanner on the bottom because it does not match her face at all. I was like, girl, easy on the tanner, but she looks gorgeous. I feel like the best I've seen her in a while. So I'm loving that confessional look. And she's just talking about how good it is to have Kathy back in her life. And, they spent so much time apart, and now it's good to reconnect with her sister. Hopefully she can have the same with Kim, but it's probably going to be a while before that. Ooh, Erica and her dramatic entrance. She knocks on the door. Lisa runs to get the door. She walks in. Lisa hugs her. And, like, the ladies start to come to the entrance to, like, surround her. And she's just, like, crying like this with her finger under her nose. And I'm like, girl, I don't mean to laugh, but it's, like, so dramatic. I've never seen someone cry like this before. I can't. I'm sorry. It feels heartless, but like, watching it feels dramatic. And this is a reality show too, y'all. Come on. It just feels very dramatic. So they sit down and they surround her. Kathy comes downstairs. Kyle goes back into the kitchen and finish cooking. And I'm like, Crystal, I would be like helping Kyle out and stuff because Crystal doesn't know Erica. This is her very first season with her, and just seeing all of this dramatically unfold. So I will be trying to, like, help Kyle, and then, back and forth, because, like, it's probably, like, a lot, and I don't know this woman, so I don't know how much she wants me to comfort her. So I definitely understand where Crystal's coming from. So Erica is talking about the court case. She had to go to Chicago because it's a federal case, and she's just saying, like, Tom's lawyer saying he's not mentally well, so, they're still trying to spin this that he's not mentally competent to stand trial. And then Dorit's like, Erica's like, I'm being dragged into this. And Sutton's like, why is that? And Kathy is like, well, because you're the wife, so they're going to bring you into it. Dorit jumps in. She says that PK was going through legal issues like long before they even got married, and it dragged on for so long that she got dragged into it as well. So she just said, like, you never know, like, what is going on, like, with your husband, like, really, as far as, like, financially. And which I kind of agree. I mean, if he's still dealing with money issues before you, and then you guys get married and it's still going on and they try to drag you into it, you're like, wait, what's going on? But however, like, Dorit, like, you also went through some money issues or legal issues of your own that we never got to see on the show, because for some reason the show protects the Mean Girl crew and we never get to see the, like, Mauricio's legal issues. We still don't get to see Dorit's when that woman was chasing her around the pool. We saw it after the show, but we didn't get to see it on the show. We don't get to hear about, like, Lisa and Harry's money issues. Like, it's just, like, they're so protected that we see pieces and not the full story, like we're having to see with Erica and what Denise went through and all that stuff. And I just find it interesting that they're able to hide so much on a reality show. So Kathy is talking about, like, marriage is built on trust, and when you marry your husband and if he tells you, like, brings you a bunch of papers to sign and stuff, you sign them. She says, I would just sign them and not even think about it because I trust my husband. Which, okay. I don't know about that. Like, without even looking at them, like, girl, Kathy, you may want to go back and check some of the paperwork that you signed and have your lawyers look over them. Because, girl, like, you could be in a whole lot of mess and not even realize it. I understand trusting your husband, and if he has you, like, he brings something over to have you sign them, you might not be like, I'm sending this to my lawyer immediately. But you might look over it at least and see, like, what the hell is this? Or ask him. And I feel like people that wealthy should always have their lawyers look over anything that they're signing. Because, I mean, you have the money to do it. Erica talks, however, about there being a power balance. And there was. Like, Tom was much older. He had way more money before she even came into this relationship. She was younger than him. So there was definitely a power balance. So I'm sure if he was like, sign it, she did. Because we're, like, she was younger and he had all the money. And she also had a kid. Like, where's she going to go? I mean, getting older, I feel like you could speak up more, but I guess she just didn't want to ruffle his feathers. I feel like, but if you're, like, on equal playing fields, like, I don't know, if you marry for love, I feel like Kathy Hilton married for money and for love. But if you marry for love, you trust your husband, but you still want to make sure that you're not signing your name on something that could put you in prison. So Sutton reveals to Erica that her father ended his life 2 days before Christmas. She was in her 30s, but it was still, like, a shock to their family. I mean, even though he had been struggling, they weren't expecting him to do that 2 days before Christmas. So, and she said it was on the day of her mother's retirement. So her mother found him in the house. So it was a lot. And they have a flashback to Sutton's store, and she's like, she was talking to her mother, like, I wish you were here for the opening. Like, this is my store, but, like, all of the writing is from my dad. This is his writing. It's all over the store. Like, don't you miss him? And she's just like, I had a very different relationship with him than you did. Like, that was your father. Like, you loved him and adored him, but I was the wife, and we just had a very different relationship. And Sutton's like, well, don't you miss him? And she's like, no, I don't. I was just like, damn. And I just feel like it seems like having a husband who is manic and going through a lot, and you're constantly having to put him in the hospital, I feel like that woman went through a lot. Sutton doesn't see that because that was her father. It's very different father-daughter relationship than husband and wife. And it just seems like her mother went through a lot, and she does not miss him. And I get it. It's rough, and I'm sure it's hard for Sutton to understand, but I get it. So Kyle is in the kitchen making a mess. Kathy is, like, over her shoulder because she's, like, the older sister, making sure she's doing everything right. They're cracking each other up with this hard-ass bread that Kathy is using to make some music. And they're just having, like, a good time as sisters. And then Kathy, with her, like, older self, is trying to, like, lug this luggage upstairs. Dorit comes and helps her, and she's like, if it was anyone else, carry your own bags, but it's Kathy, so of course I'm gonna do it. And then they get into Kathy's room. Dorit takes the fan and is fanning her. It was just like, that was sweet, but you could just, I mean, you could tell, like, Kathy is just used to people doing things for her all of the time. So Erica is talking to Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna is like testing out the hot tub with her fingers, and Erica was like, ooh girl, I gotta pay my own bills now, and like I used to leave the water running in the pool and the jacuzzi at our old house with like no problem. I never had to see the bill. I never got in it. And she's like, I left the jacuzzi running for 3 days at my house. I saw that bill and I was like, turn it off. So things hit different when you gotta pay your own bills. So definitely get that. Kyle is a mess in the kitchen. She keeps dropping things. Kathy says Kyle has ADHD, FG, HIJK. She's like, she's a mess. And so she drops and breaks glass, and then Kathy comes in with the grill thing and is trying to scoop it up, and it's a mess. Kyle's like, you're not helping me, get out of here. And then Erica sweeps it up. Kyle drops some more stuff, and Kathy's like, I'm out of here, you're nuts, because like you can't get it together. And I feel like these are like the moments where like Kathy is like goofy and joking, but like she has very serious moments, and she's very clear, she's very smart. So that's why I feel like people a lot of the time feel like she's putting on for the show, because I mean, like, look at her daughter, like with Paris and Nicole Richie for like A Simple Life. It was like very like, we're airheads, dumb blondes, but they're very smart business women. So it's just, I don't know, like it's hard to tell with her. She's fun, but I still got my eye on Kathy. Kyle's daughter texts her about Drake following Lisa Rinna, so they're all like fangirling, except for Lisa Rinna tries to pretend like she doesn't know who Drake is. And she's like, well, I didn't know because he goes by Champagne Pappy. And they're like, Champagne Poppy. And I'm like, girl, you knew who he is. Like, you know his screen name. Don't act like you didn't know Drake was following you. But the rest of the girls are fangirling. And it's funny because Crystal did like a podcast interview, and the interviewer was asking her like, okay, so like if Drake, like, yeah, it's great that Drake would be following you if he did, but who else would you want to follow you? And she immediately said Rihanna. Like, I feel like all of the housewives want Rihanna to follow them. I feel like it's like she chooses select housewives to follow. I don't know how much longer she's gonna be following Erica, because I mean, Erica was a part of her Fenty line. That might be squashed. Well, because her contract's up and they didn't renew it. So, but I feel like, go ahead, Rihanna, follow Crystal. So the ladies are tearing up Kyle's lasagna. I guess it's really good. It looks good. And they're talking about, like, because it's an eclipse or something, but you're supposed to be manifesting what you want. You light a candle and then blow it out. So there's a candle on the table. Dorit stands up and shoves the candle in front of Erica, like, here, girl. She like closes her eyes and blows it out. Girl, I hope what you wished for was for all of the victims to somehow magically get their money due without you having to go broke. Because otherwise, I don't know how this is gonna work. Anybody else find it strange that Erica, like in her confessional, was saying like, I'll do anything at this point except for like go to confession. I'm not confessing. And I'm like, what are you not confessing, girl? Spill. So they ask her about like what's going to happen with Eric and Jane. She said it's a very expensive business. She closed her clubhouse, so she doesn't know. She's not getting any spousal support, but we know like because there's no money. If it is, it's hidden somewhere, allegedly. And they're still tiptoeing around Erica and the situation, like tiptoeing around asking her questions. Like, Lisa Rinna is even tiptoeing in her confessional. And I'm like, girl, I thought you were like Miss Detective and you gotta know everything. They speak more about the dementia Tom supposedly has. Crystal speaks to her situation with her father. And it's just like heartbreaking to like hear like he was suffering for years. And she says it's like a cruel joke. And I feel like it is, because to be so smart, or just to be so like aware and alert and know your family, and now you just don't even know what's going on. If you can, it's It's sad. But if you can, watch the movie The Father with Anthony Hopkins. I feel like I'm not someone who has ever had to deal with a grandparent who's had dementia or even a parent. But I feel like it gives a really good look to how the person who's dealing with dementia is living with it. Like, I feel like you get to see like from their point of view. It's such a good movie, so I definitely recommend it. Just a side note, but definitely check it out. So for the first time ever, I'm agreeing with Sutton. Who knew? We get this car accident story from Erica. So Kyle brings up the car accident. She's like, oh yeah, didn't it happen like 4 years ago? And Lisa was like, oh, it was 3 years ago. We get a quick flashback of Erica telling Kyle about the car accident. I have forgotten all about that. I can't remember what season it was, but 3 years ago, I guess. So apparently Erica says that Tom was in a car accident. He broke his ankle. Then he was unconscious for 12 hours. And she found him after those 12 hours. She said he broke his ankle, he hurt his shoulder, his clavicle. I was like, damn, how is he still alive? Because he's an old man, and that's a lot of injuries for an old man. Then she said, they were like, so did he crash into like a tree or something? She said he went over a cliff behind the house. I'm sorry. But then she says Tom was thrown from the car, and then he crawled out of the car and then was unconscious for 12 hours. What is going on, Erica? So then she says he finally, like, I guess woke up from unconsciousness after 12 hours and then called her. And she just assumed he was with another woman. So they're all like, shocked. Kyle says, you know what? That's not the first time I've heard that. Yes, I have heard that he's cheated. I was like, Kyle, stop trying to act so proud about it. So then Kyle's like, so this 81-year-old man is cheating on you? And she's like, yeah, ain't that some ish? But I feel like Erica and Tom had an arrangement of some sort. I feel like they both knew that they were seeing other people. Allegedly. That's how I feel. She is still trying to maintain that she didn't cheat. He cheated. So she says after Yolanda got divorced, she was just like, well, I'm going to open his phone and start snooping around. Which kind of alludes to the fact that Yolanda found some stuff on David. If you don't remember, like, Yolanda Foster, she was from previous seasons. She's the one who brought on Erica. So it kind of made it seem like David was cheating on Yolanda, and she found some stuff. So Erica said, well, I'm going to find some stuff in my husband. She found text messages, pictures, mess. Kyle says, why didn't you leave? And she's like, where am I going? He told me this is my house. So, but I feel like, if he was really cheating on you and you're saying like, where am I going? But you left, right? You left now. You got your own little place. So like, clearly you could leave because you left. So I feel like, that's why I feel like it wasn't cheating. I feel like you guys had an arrangement and you only left now because the block is hot. Dorit is the most shocked about all of this. Her faces are like, oh, no, what? Like, she's so dramatic. But I feel like I don't know. This could be real, but her dramatic faces are cracking me up. And then, like, out of nowhere, I guess to lighten the mood, Sutton's like, let's have some pancake cake. So I felt like what I was expecting this pancake cake to look like was like a stack of like pancakes, but like, you know, in a cake form. Because you know, like there's like these cake makers and designers, and they make these beautiful cakes. Bakers, like cake bakers. Why couldn't I think of that? They make beautiful cakes, and they can make cakes look like anything. So I was imagining a cake that looked like a stack of pancakes with a big old thing of like frosting that's like shaped into like a stick of butter on top. It didn't look anything like that, so I was very disappointed. So they sit down to eat their cake. Lisa says this morning she was sitting in the kitchen with Harry Hamlin, and he's like, how did Scott Disick get into our lives? And they just start busting up laughing. She is trying to make us believe that she feels like they're just friends. Girl, everybody looks at her like, girl, bye. They are not friends. It's far beyond that, girl, and you know it. So stop playing. But that's the end of this episode. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Did you believe Erica? What did you think about this story? This car accident story? Like, bizarre. It's so bizarre. She's tripping. Please also like this video, share it with your friends, bring some traffic, y'all. We gotta get this community growing. Hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video, and subscribe. I would love to have you a part of Steph and Key TV. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.